Hello, listeners. Welcome to yet another episode of the Startup Catalyst. Special guest today is our mentor, Mr. Vasukumar N. He's got more than 3 decades of experience in the industry, and he comes with wealth of experience both in established companies and startups. And we are very privileged and thankful to Mr. Vasu for having agreed to be part of our mentor panel. Welcome, Mr. Vasu. How are you doing?
I'm doing fine. Thank you, Mr. Hetal, and thank to GRG Incubation for having me here. So it's been
Wonderful.
a pleasure. Thank you.
Wonderful. So, why don't you just take the listeners across to your cherished background? Why don't you just tell us
Yeah,
a little bit more and we can take it from there?
sure. Thanks, Hetal, for this opportunity first. And basically, I would say I am an first generation entrepreneur coming from a background where startups or starting a business was a big taboo. I mean, in the 1980s, you could never start a startups,
Yeah.
and Indian ecosystem never supported the credits nor the approaches. So I come from that generation which had to struggle a lot to build a startup.
Yeah.
And today also I am experiencing as a startup. After 32 years, I started a new company.
Wow.
So I could see the difference in 3 decades as how, an entrepreneur who even had an entrepreneur zeal 30 years back and today, there's a
Mhm.
huge difference in the way the ecosystem operates.
Yeah.
So yeah, I started my journey. Typically, IT was the boom when we were in our teens.
Mhm.
So we kickstarted myself. I kickstarted with an technology company for laboratories where we were integrating medical equipments and doing workflow designs in terms of software flow. So that's how the career started. Built it up into a quite say 0 to 1, 1 to 10. Built it up, moved my bases from India to Europe and spread across many countries. So that's been my journey, 32 years building a company from 0 to 1, building it up from 1 to 10, and then exiting.
Hmm.
So I had 5 startups in my career, and these startups were basically built and organically merged into other organizations to provide an overall arcing solutions in
Okay.
healthcare. So at every opportunity, as an entrepreneur, what I did basically is to align with like-minded other entrepreneurs and build a larger entity. So
Right.
that's how we ended up with 21st Century Informatics, and then took it up to Europe, spread it out to many countries.
Mhm.
And even in India, in laboratory segments, I suppose we were the topmost till 1990s, early 2000. And
Okay.
uh, basically, that was my journey. Then I thought, because after that, I then got into healthcare on demand in 2014.
Okay.
Um, so built an organization with one of the large business house in Middle East,
Right.
based out of Dubai. So, and then from there, built it for the Gulf states, healthcare on
Mhm.
demand with
Hmm.
the American uh, doctors online. Nowadays, there are a lot of online things, but late in 2013-14, there were very few healthcare on demand portals. So that was the other experience that I had in healthcare. Then by 2018, I moved back to India, took sabbatical. By the time I was 50, 51, thought should spend some family time because was spending too much time traveling and building. That's how I landed up back in India. And then this challenge of, um, I wanted to do something which could have a purpose in life. And that's how the challenge of small marginal farmers in India, which is quite huge in terms of the volume of people as well as the societal challenge that it has. And so that caught my attention, and I spent my experience and time to see how to work around and build a solution towards that. And that's how the birth of Vridhi Techno Farms happened. And so from there, I moved to Mumbai, I moved to Coimbatore. So now Coimbatore is my destination place, you can say, where I've seeded this social enterprise. And it's been now 4 years of building something that I believe would be very strongly needed in the coming years, because
Hmm.
food security is a big issue, and health issues are also lingering quite heavily on the Indian people. So these two issues is what is high focus, and thereby providing rural employment in the inland areas. So that's been the journey with Vridhi Techno Firm. So it's been around 34, 35 years of entrepreneurship, two exits and three failures, I would say.
Wow. That's quite a wealth of experience. I mean, you took us down memory lane by talking about the 1980s and the red tapeism which used to exist back in those days. And to today's generation of AI age, I'm sure it's like a right, quite a wide and depth journey that you have had in terms of entrepreneurial experience. Coming back to your most recent venture, you mentioned about agri, and agri-tech tends to be talked about a lot from a scope of innovation perspective. You can start a startup in any field nowadays, of course, that's
Yeah,
never a problem. But to be able to start a startup in agri-tech, you are doing two things, right? One is you are helping the masses, which is the farmers, which are the bread makers of the country. And at the same time, you're, you know, using your entrepreneur zeal, but still we don't see a large influx of people getting into agri-tech. What would you call out as a few uh, not so well-known advantages of agri-tech and a few reasons why people are not venturing into agri-tech as much as the government would like them to?
it's a very critical question, actually. If you look at it in the agri space, which comprises of agriculture, animal husbandry, aquaculture, all these three areas are there, which is quite critical areas for the humanity and its survival. Now, if you look at the uh, ecosystem that spreads across this is quite diverse in nature. The problem is too complex because of the socio-economic divisiveness in the whole area, because the landmass is separated very separately in terms of large farmers, medium farmers, and small farmers and micro farmers. Now, the volume of people where there is large is at the lowest level, and at the high level, it is the volume farmers. Now, this food chain is broken at many places. Okay, it has a lot of social issues, political touch points. So, unless and until like the entire chain is mapped, technology at a specific place to map all these things would be very difficult to come in. It's a very so what normally happens is agrotech, when people say, they take specific problem in terms of soil testing, in terms of water testing, in terms of density of growth and all that stuff. So there we can apply at a point person technology, but then the scalability and the ROI becomes a bigger challenge in terms of monetizability. So
Hmm.
monetization of the business model becomes quite difficult, and so there are quite a bit amount of challenges as far as the Indian ecosystem is concerned in the agri space. It will change, but then someone has to take a lead. So that's why people like us at the later part of their life have taken these areas to, because otherwise monetization in today's startup world is difficult. Attracting funds are difficult,
Hmm.
but there are a lot of opportunities, no doubt about it. It has to be created. Like I said, 1980s, we started with Fortran, DBase, and COBOL, and
Hmm.
today we don't have to even code. So the journey is there.
Yeah.
Food chain is a journey which has started, and I suppose it will build up in the next 10 years, and there will be a lot of because that technology is the only way to change the lives of people. in a many ways. So uh, I would say these are the major bottlenecks, and a lot of I would say the culture or our culture of agriculture.
Hmm.
The way we grow, the way it's all still medieval. People need to understand how to save water, how
Hmm.
to choose a crop. There are a lot of challenges at this moment because I say in some of the talks that I have been invited, I say
Hmm.
farming is the only business where the businessman doesn't know what to grow, where to sell, what price to sell, weather is not in his control, and mandi is not in his control. So, we talk a lot about other business models where we try to overcome the challenges.
Hmm.
Farmer business model is something where they have very little control, and the external forces bring a lot of controls into the system. So
Hmm.
when you look at this overall ecosystem of agrotech and all, I think it is in for a change because this cannot sustain the 182 million small marginal farmer population.
Hmm.
It has to change. Otherwise, skill development is also very difficult because skill change is not practical for these village people.
Right.
So ecosystem would change. Challenges are there, and there are a lot of companies, youngsters who have come in, and I
Hmm.
suppose there is a change happening. So it will take time. Monetization of the business model is too tough, and that's one of the reasons. It's more kind of organic growth. Doesn't gel well with the venture capital mindsets of 10x, 15x, and 20x.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
it's a dichotomy place of vertical company.
Yeah. No, I think you're right. I think it's not a very attractive venture area for VCs for sure. But attracting VC capital would be more important in segments which require a lot of money.
Correct.
Now, specifically sticking to agritech and the various popular business models, do you think there are business models in agritech which might not require tons and tons of money? And an entrepreneur, especially with a lot of government support, because typically agritech is one field where not just state but even central government, there are multiple schemes which directly can be utilized by the entrepreneur. So do you think with this pool of small bootstrap money and loans and grants from governments, you can still build I would say, a decently profitable venture, even if not a unicorn or anything like that?
Definitely. I am one of those. Okay.
Okay.
I started with the central government aid. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And the objective of taking that aid was basically to connect with the policy makers.
Hmm.
Because unless agri is a policy maker, space, you have to be connected to them to make any
Yeah.
difference or to drive your purpose.
Right.
So yes, there are lots and lots of, like I could say, you get up to a 2 crore, 3 crore
Mm-hmm.
grant. I know
Okay.
it was not at all visualizable. I would say 20 years back. We
Hmm.
couldn't even think in a proper project of agrotech,
Yeah.
whichever space. If they are into research, they have much more funds allocated as of now.
Mm-hmm.
Aquaculture, blue economy is a huge fund allocation that is there. It's
Right.
2,50,000 crore. And
Hmm.
agri research has around 150 crore kind of budgets. Now, these are the areas where lots of our youngsters can focus on, build
Hmm.
a differentiator in terms of solving a problem, which could be futuristic, which could be present,
Yeah.
and build startups.
Mm-hmm.
Not necessarily that it will become, because nobody can know whether it will become a unicorn or not.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Hello,
Hello. Are you there, sir?
hello. Hello. Hello.
Yeah.
Can sorry about this. I just got stopped there. I don't know
No
what.
issues, no issues. We can continue.
Yeah.
I think you touched upon a few valid points. I think from a growability perspective, agri-tech has its challenges, and you rightly pointed out some sectors where there is definitely raw scope. I think from an exposure perspective, education has a big role to play. I think colleges and universities need to draw more attention of the students towards the benefits of agri-tech. I think there are a lot of available lab space which can get utilized towards innovative crops, innovative solutions where you can boost productivity. Uh, Hydroponics has been a
Yeah.
very interesting space. I've heard of quite a few startups trying to come up with this amazing concept of growing fruits and growing vegetables with nothing else but just water. And
It's
it
called
amazes me.
soil-based cultivation.
Yeah, it amazes me that there is something so straightforward and something so simple, yet it does not get into the minds of educated students from big universities. So I think there is some fundamental flaw
Yes.
which needs to be corrected. But going beyond agri-tech, what is your reading on the startup ecosystem right now? What do you think is going right with the Indian startup ecosystem? What is going wrong?
Uh, yes. It's I don't think I am a guru to answer those questions because I
Hmm.
myself am following the steps because every time you learn, the ecosystem keeps on changing.
Yeah.
Because earlier the way startup ecosystem was more on how your people I would say in my third generation of my company,
Hmm.
which I was working, we were more looking at P&L,
Hmm.
uh, objectivity oriented, basically to see that we are profitable.
Yeah.
Okay. The last few years back, the
Hmm.
most of the unicorns that you see today
Yeah.
are based on lifetime value of the consumers.
Hmm.
So there is a big change in way the people look at. Now, this depends upon where the entrepreneur looks at what is his key goals to achieve that. So
Hmm.
today's ecosystem, I would say the plus point is there are too many opportunities to attract funds. I don't
Yeah.
think funds is a problem.
Yeah.
Number two, because of which people also lose focus because they all go behind earning money or valuations. The
Yeah.
real problem is the real focus on the purpose or the
Hmm.
goals of why we start an entrepreneur life and
Hmm.
what is our key goals. Those are the biggest challenges which I see missing.
Yeah. Ah.
And what I see in the Indian ecosystem is the practical nature of looking at business because our family businesses are so successful because their unit economics is perfect.
Hmm.
Okay. In
Yeah.
our scenarios, in the modern entrepreneur scenarios, the unit economics takes a back seat.
Hmm.
Whereas, the other. So I believe there has to be an Indianized way of looking at business models
Yeah.
where there is a balanced approach to, not like a tech company can be evaluated completely differently.
Hmm.
Basically, a food company could be evaluated differently. There are a lot of other ways of valuations that happens. Youngsters needs to be aware of it, and not even youngsters. I think a lot of middle-aged group are also joining the startup wagon.
Of course.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
I think the biggest awareness is, I would say, keep on learning the changing environment of the startup ecosystem, adapting to it. I call it as
Hmm.
a law of entropy, which keeps
Yeah.
on
That's
impacting
great.
us at every point of time. Okay,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
unless and until you don't adapt to a change,
Hmm.
it's very difficult. So ecosystem today is enabled fantastically, no two doubts about it. As far as
Right.
the funding is concerned or incubation centers are concerned, there is so much of knowledge we can share at any
Hmm.
point of time. Mentors are available. So the
Yeah.
good part, there are quite a few. I think the challenge lies within the entrepreneur and the entrepreneur's thinking and the team, how
Hmm.
they are able to take some uh, hard stops in
Yeah.
decision.
Hmm.
It's not about keeping themselves happy or keeping others happy. It is about keeping the company healthy. So
Yeah.
those decisions, I suppose, are very challenging
Hmm.
to an entrepreneur, and those we get only in our real time world. And I
Yeah.
think something that I have learned, still learning, even after creating so many companies, but I think that's something as an entrepreneur you have to go through.
Yeah. Well, that's a very interesting point that you mentioned that despite all the aids and the support available, ultimately the challenge or the responsibility lies with the entrepreneur in terms of how he or she wants to navigate his set of problems, whether he wants to make it a solo fight or whether he wants to involve a team. A mentor can't help an entrepreneur if the entrepreneur is not candid enough and shares upfront what are the challenges that he or she is facing. And I think it probably indirectly directs me towards the challenge of mental health and the kind of big issues which entrepreneurs are facing nowadays. They are not able to come out openly and share their problems, not even with their family, forget about the mentors. And that's got to do with the set of expectations which are set by these a few one-off cases where the startup became a unicorn, grew very rapidly because of investor money. But in reality, things were not as bright. But the rest of the world never got to know about it because nobody highlighted that part as well. Going further into the entrepreneur ecosystem, what are the standout startup ideas or startups that you feel have done really well and have great potential to further grow?
Now, just to add up to your last question, basically in India, we don't appreciate failures.
Yeah. In fact, we look down on them, forget
We
about
look down
appreciating.
on the failure, and that's a big challenge because being an entrepreneur, the first thing is you should accept failures.
Hmm.
And that's been our society change. Like I said, in 1980s, when I was there, I couldn't start a startup with my family's permission. I had to
Hmm.
go against the society to start a company. Okay. So
Yeah.
nowadays, at least it is not that bad.
Hmm.
Okay. So I suppose this change will happen with an societal behavioral change that's
Yeah.
going to come in.
Yeah.
And coming back to the uh, latest unicorns or the latest ideas, I
Yeah.
think India is poised because the latest sets of startups that are coming in, because most India were in a startups of supply chain enabled, convenience enabled models, I would say.
Yeah.
10-minute delivery or the kind of convenience enabled, which
Hmm.
was more suited to the Indian conditions, more kind of thing. Now there are startups which are because Indian startup ecosystem will grow dynamically only when we get into innovation of making products
Hmm.
rather than service enabled products. So these products are now in place because chip based deep tech companies are taking a lot of space, because while attending few of the seminars of CII and other mentoring programs, I could see a lot of startups coming deep in tech, deep tech,
Hmm.
AI. AI, but not at the core structure, maybe at the MLP structures.
Right.
There are other startups coming also in the agri-tech space.
Hmm.
Um, Most of these are productized, and the beauty is there are a lot of startups which are not visible to us,
Right.
which are really in deep science and deep research.
Hmm.
There are quite a few. I think Hornbill is one of them. I think it will be the next North Star of Indian knowledge epitome,
Very interesting.
because
Hmm.
these are all people who have come back from US
Huh.
and last 3 years and have set up fantastic companies of
Hmm.
knowledge. So
Yeah.
intellectual property, IP based, not in terms of balance sheet IP, I mean the real IP, where
Hmm.
it can be valued at a
Yeah.
very different rate. If that is done, I think our ecosystem will transform to a great extent with lot of infusion of high-end funds coming in.
Hmm.
So that's where the big VCs are required, because if you need to build huge data centers or huge processing capabilities, we
Hmm.
need that kind of investors coming in. So
Right.
I suppose that's in pipeline, I would say. I can at least see that positive trend happening. Um,
Very interesting.
yeah, so something like that is going. That would be the way I would see it as a
Hmm.
pick that's happening.
Got it. Got it. What would you call out as three or four skills or facets about yourself that have helped you succeed in entrepreneurship?
One is the first thing is I'm always hungry.
Hmm.
My stomach is never full. Uh, Reason is you come from an space where you know that you have to always keep on adapting to new changes,
Hmm.
and you have to love challenges. Problems are going to come in day out, day out.
Yeah.
You are not in an mindset where today, everything will be fine and no problems will come. So I
Yeah.
say more, I would say, first is your attitude
Huh.
that needs to be positively put in place.
Right.
Next comes, I would say, thinking out of the box, because
Hmm.
normally in an entrepreneurial journey,
Yeah.
most of the successful entrepreneurs have been out of the box thinkers,
Yeah.
and they have been able to scale their ventures into different level.
Yeah.
And the third key point is perseverance, because you don't know where that luck, or end of the day luck has to play a role to whatever effort you put or
Yeah.
whatever apply.
Yeah.
And you need to consistently perceive your purpose, provided it makes, that's why you are here for. So I would say these are the three criterias that I bank on myself to
Hmm.
uh, build a company, because unless and until we don't have this, no investors would trust us.
Yeah.
No team who comes under work with us
Hmm.
will not be able to, you won't be able to give a direction. So leadership comes from sacrifice of a lot of things. And
Yeah.
one of the key factors are, I would say, what I mentioned all about, personal, uh, your character in terms of how you take when the shit flies, you know, and how you lead it. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
True.
that's been the key. And in the previous journeys, I think it's more about handling problems rather than handling. Obviously, handling success is also a very big thing nowadays because
Hmm.
of the social media impacts. So, yeah, failures is, I would say, the key.
Hmm. That's very interesting. Looking at the startup that you mentored, can you cite a couple of examples of the startup that you work closely with, and what are the mentorship experience all about, and where are those startups right now?
Uh, I started by my mentorship career after coming back to India in 2018.
Hmm.
I only worked with IIT Mumbai that time for social
Okay.
enterprises.
Huh.
There is an initiative called Abudaya. I had a very clear, specific objective for my mentoring. I wanted to mentor only social, impactful enterprises.
Hmm.
And the reason being, it impacts the lives of the people at an level where I think it takes some time for the change of their life to happen. So during those journeys, I have been lucky enough to mentor about 4 companies. Okay.
Hmm.
Um, and many of them were in animal health, animal husbandry kind of
Hmm.
thing,
Hmm.
bordering the Indian villages in Kashmir and in Punjab.
Okay.
Okay. So there was one Balwinder Singh, who
Hmm.
was an MTech in animal husbandry and thing. So
Okay.
the one I mentored, and then I think he got decent funding also later from a British social fund,
Hmm.
and he's doing well. The biggest challenge there was, I'm telling around 8 years back,
Hmm.
our border was not always that calm.
Right.
It was always bombardment, and
Ah.
you couldn't have internet there because it
Ah.
was always infringed upon. So
Right.
he came up with an completely manual system that was
Okay.
traceable and
Hmm.
documentable back at the Jilla level.
Okay.
And we could get animal health, and thereby they could improve the productivity from the animals in terms of milk, in terms of lot of things. And he
Right.
created a library out of it. So that was one venture which I was very lucky to be part of.
Hmm.
Um, Many of them, one was in Kashmir, I would say
Right.
Baramulla,
Ah.
where two ladies, they have
Hmm.
wanted to, and it was not a good time that time.
Hmm.
Okay. And
Yes.
I could connect only through the Indian Army Northern Command through their uh, communication systems. And
Right.
I had to conduct the mentoring to enable them to start a business house where they could export their sweets, Kashmiri sweets, to the world.
Hmm.
So I think they are also doing quite good. Uh,
Just 1 second, sorry.
yeah.
624608. 6246. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah. Sorry. Please continue.
So these are the kind of I select. I ensure that there is a value add from my side,
Hmm.
because domain is as far as domain is concerned, lot of entrepreneurs are quite good in their domain.
Hmm.
The challenge that for an entrepreneur comes is the surrounding things. Like I would say, the biggest challenge I have seen in Indian ecosystem of startup is having a shareholders agreement. They don't start with a shareholders agreement. If you are 3 or 4 of you, you should start with a shareholders agreement. You should ensure that your exits are foolproof, so that
Hmm.
an investor's interest and money is protected, or
Hmm.
your yourself is protected. But we start with an MOA, article of association, directly control C, control V, and that itself is a leakage path that happens to many of the proper investors to come in. Governance takes a back seat. Uh,
Hmm.
I give importance to all these because when you are investing your life, time, and money, I think
Hmm.
the carpet should not fold back. So these are some of the areas that we focus on as mentors.
Yeah.
We enable to sharpen their domain by
Hmm.
showing them the mirror and the risks around. So that's how I started, and that initiative was called Sarathi. Okay,
Hmm.
long back, and it
Yeah.
still goes on, but
Yeah.
very selected, social enterprises I work with.
Hmm.
I myself am a social entrepreneur, so I have started my social enterprise. So that's how the whole journey
That
has.
makes sense. Definitely makes sense.
Yeah.
You touched upon an important element, which is failures, and you did mention your experience failure as well. Would you like to talk about the venture that failed and why it failed, and in hindsight, what were the learnings that you picked up from that failure?
My venture didn't fail because of revenue generation. I say I failed. One is a team, and when a company grows, it is more about the trust
Hmm.
within the team members.
Yeah.
And it is all about how your organizational design is put in place,
Hmm.
taking care of every person's aspirations.
Yeah.
And that is why I feel my first venture called Visual Access Systems,
Hmm.
we failed because of the challenges at the top, not at the marketplace.
Right.
So That was my biggest learning, that you need to ensure that your carpet doesn't roll back when you create your own startup and build it up.
Hmm.
So I would say these are not legal aspects.
Yeah.
These are very specific interpersonal co-founder issues that
Hmm.
needs to be put on the table, and it needs to be ironed out. Protect the
Hmm.
company, because company by itself is a legal entity.
Yeah.
So rather than having a personal challenges, it should be company protected, so that person doesn't becomes too important. So that's one, I would say, great opportunity that we had built upon.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, the second learning was more about how my business plan turned topsy-turvy, because
Uh-huh.
we had done a huge business plan for the MENA region
Right.
and extended it to Africa.
Yeah.
And I suppose the market study that we did and
Hmm.
our report that we prepared,
Hmm.
and
Right.
obviously what you say is the reality, and as soon as the tire touches the road, the deviation happens. uh,
Yeah.
we were not really ready with the technology change, because what hit us like tsunami was, we were more in a, that was a desktop era, okay,
Huh.
distributed
Okay.
database approach,
Yeah.
and technology hit us like tsunami, because by that time cloud infrastructure had been made, and our
Hmm.
product was completely at a different line. And
Yeah.
you being in mid enterprise, you are always compared with the large, not with the small.
Hmm.
So I suppose we were not ready, or we were not aware enough about the technological change that was happening around us.
Okay.
And and that I believe is because of the ecosystem. You need to be in the right ecosystem.
Hmm.
We were in a decent place in Dubai Internet City, and we were also in Amsterdam. But I suppose then our brains were shut. We didn't see that coming in, and we could
Yeah.
have tweaked our product into a different model.
Hmm.
And so that was the second biggest learning.
Yeah.
In this, when I came here into Coimbatore and I started food, which is never my subject.
Hmm.
Food chain is not my area of expertise at all. I am a typical B2B business model guy, and
Right.
directly landing up into a D2C kind of thing. And
Okay.
here I learned something about unit economics, supply chain challenges, and
Hmm.
adaptation to various local issues. So
Yeah.
I suppose these are, I think, ever till you wear the entrepreneur hat, I suppose uh, every problem, because I am very sure, Hetal, you must have heard hundreds and thousands of people's experiences. You may
Yeah.
have huge repository of knowledge and risks. I think an entrepreneur need to hear those risks and challenges,
Yeah.
and so that they are able to tweak and navigate through this
Hmm.
complex journey.
Yeah.
I think yes, these are what I would say top of my mind that comes in
Correct.
to be into the entrepreneurship. But I would say a mentor with an entrepreneur who has been an entrepreneur is a different level, and
Hmm.
mentor who has been in the corporate has a different experience.
Yeah.
So you have to choose your mentors differently also, so
Yeah.
that you get different perspectives, and then it's up to you to take a call, how you want
Right.
to proceed, I suppose. Mentors can always give you a direction, I suppose, and
Hmm.
also choosing a kind of mentor from which space and how they have come up is also very important.
Right. No, I totally agree with you. I don't think one mentor can fit the bill as far as the range of issues which an entrepreneur faces. And that's why here at GRG Genetics as well, we have 35 plus mentors.
Correct.
And we don't try to choose between the mentors. We believe that we want to give a wide variety of choices to the entrepreneurs. And mentors obviously are not doing this as a full-time job, so right? So they are also having other responsibilities. So at certain times, if you want to reach out to someone who's good in tech,
Correct.
and if your key mentor is not there, then at least you have two, three other options to reach out to as well. And we have realized that's benefited the entrepreneurs a lot because they also like to run through some ideas with more than one person. And from that perspective as well, having multiple mentors allows them to get a variety of inputs. And, India is fairly large as a country, right? From a geographic diversity plus cultural diversity, it's always important to get a variety of opinions so you can make a more holistic opinion about the problem rather than trying to narrow down and deciding on one.
Sure.
No, I think that's been great. My towards the lag end, I typically ask for a source of knowledge and wisdom. So, any books or any other source of wisdom that you recommend to entrepreneurs, and anything that you'd like to share?
So I was always been a listener
Okay.
rather than a reader.
Mm-hmm.
I've been choosing my mentors. As of now, also I have 6 mentors.
Okay.
And one of the book is Atomic Habits,
Yeah. James
which
Clear.
is very fundamental to an entrepreneur.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do small things. Don't try to do too many things.
Yeah.
Try to improve on a day-to-day basis. Keep your discipline in place. Change yourself.
Yeah.
I think Atomic Habits really tells you how do we do that.
Yeah.
But I think most important is you build your ecosystem to be an entrepreneur with great mentors who really show you the mirror, not the yes people around. Because that's the disaster that you're building it up.
Yeah.
So I'm happy that even at this age, I'm 59, trying to run a startup again.
Wow.
And I believe that I have around 6 mentors.
Hmm.
Most of them are young from diverse field. And I believe you need to learn. That's being a
Yeah.
human being, you need to keep on learning.
Yeah.
Law of entropy, that's the only fundamental. Change is constant.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's been so. Books, I would say, life has been my book.
Okay.
I've learned it the hard way, but
Yeah.
but each nuances, to great extent. But
Great.
learned it from all great successful people. That's
Makes
been,
sense.
yeah, that's been my journey. Thanks, I think.
Sounds good, Vasu, and thanks a lot for sparing your time to be
Thanks,
a
Atul.
mentor on GRG Gen X, and thank you more importantly for this session. I think it's been a quite thought-provoking and informative session. And I'm sure the not just the incubatees, but even potential entrepreneurs who are considering GRG Gen X will find the conversation pretty useful and benefit from your learning and expertise. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Atul. Thanks a lot. It was a pleasure. Thank you.